Hey, when you're incarcerated, news travels pretty slow. A lot of times we're left with gossip and rumor. And uh, one of the things that guys wait for, or they try to find, if they don't have their own subscription to a newspaper, is somebody from their local town that does have one. So everybody was waiting for these things right here. This was a good source of some information coming from your town. But right after you read the front page, everybody straight away, I'd ask them, where do you go to? You go to the arrest records, you go to the obituaries, you go to where all the bad news is to see who's getting their karma, to see who got busted next, to talk about the old stories of who you knew and who finally got their karma. But then I remembered when my name was and picture was plastered on the front of a newspaper, and how people must have talked about me. They called me Boss Man, and they'd say, "Oh, Boss Man, they finally got Boss Man." I didn't name myself that. I don't know where that crap comes from, the but I was the headline for that day. But just for that day. Tomorrow somebody else's name's on there, and the day after and years later it's somebody else. And we're looking almost with a smile, almost with some pleasure. And I was reading my Bible this morning. I was reading it says, "Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker." This is Proverbs chapter 17. "And he who is glad at calamity will not go unpunishment." Some people are glad when you do wrong. I remember coming back from the courthouse and somebody asked me, "Well, how much time did you get?" And I said, "Well, they give me 25, suspended 2, 23 years, do 11 and a half." And the response was, "Well, it's about time somebody got the kind of time that I got." And it didn't register to me that somebody wanted to see somebody else doing as bad as they were, or somebody else wanting to see them do worse. And so I made it a point that when I would get the newspaper and I would see the headlines, or I'd see the obituaries, or I'd see somebody who's been arrested, it didn't matter what time they got. It wasn't time to gossip. It was time to make that my prayer list. If I was just yesterday's headlines and that's all I was in it to anybody, then so be it. But I wasn't going to let that stop me from doing what I felt like God had put on my heart to do, which was pray for those people who were doing hard time. Pray for those people who were lost in their addiction. Pray for those people who had been arrested. Pray for the families of those people who had lost their loved ones. Being locked up during COVID, you saw a lot of that. And I would just encourage you that when you see wrong, or when you see evil, or when you see people who are suffering, or you see people who are losing in life, pray that that they find the Lord. Pray that they get built up, and if you can have any part in that, in their success of building them up, helping them find their way back to what their true purpose in life is, and who they're, and who they are, and who loves them, and who they can be, then do that. Do that. Thank you.